Well, here we are at Oak Ridge Equestrian area. And you can see no horse trailers, not even any cars in the parking lot. So that could be good for us because I'm just trying to figure out how to work my camera on a trail and trying to figure out this trail as well. So let's see what happens. Oh yeah, gotta have the water. Definitely. So cold water on ice, and we'll save one for when we get back. That way we can just put them in our pocket. Here we are at marker number 1. Trail to the left, trail straight ahead. We're gonna try the straight ahead one today and see where this takes us. All right, off we go. I'm doing this solo today without Rocco. Usually I have my German Shepherd Rocco with me, particularly in the morning or in the evening outings we do, or in the cooler months in Florida. We'll go out any time of day, but July in Florida, not the best time to be walking your dog outside in it's 93 degree humidity as well. Yeah, kind of tough. He's an all-black German Shepherd, so not the best for him out here at this time. But we're gonna see what we can make of it. On the trail, trying to see what it's about out here. No cars in the lot, so it's only me. Yeah, would I be a little more confident if I had a guide with me? Yes, I've never done this trail before, at least not as far as we're going right now. Would I be more confident if it wasn't even a professional guide, but just somebody who had walked this way before? Yeah, a little more confident. But if I had a professional guide, even if they've never been on this trail before, but they knew enough to tell me about the shoes I should be wearing, not your tennis shoes, Terry, the gear or not gear I should bring to stay light, maybe don't carry too much stuff. Just for an afternoon outing, you don't want to be bogged down with too much gear, I would imagine, but having a professional guide tell me that would be good. Or maybe the amount of water I should bring, other things I should be on the lookout for, what kind of first aid stuff. Oh, I think I forgot that today. But what kind of first aid stuff should I be carrying along with me? Yeah, all those kinds of things. It would make me a little more comfortable if I had a guide with me. But all right, you only live once. I'm gonna risk it. Let's see what happens. Only recently did I decide to start checking out some of the trails close to home here. I used to think hiking was kind of just silly. Like, come on, is that even a workout? My sister and my brother-in-law, her husband, used to talk about all the hiking they would do and how that was kind of a big thing for them. They would go up out of state, up to, I want to say someplace called the White Mountains, but could be wrong on that. But they would go up there and go hiking. And I was thinking to myself, this could be heaven or this could be hell. No, it wasn't that. I don't know why that song is stuck in my mind. I used to think like, hiking, come on. Is that even a workout? Is that even a thing? In my mind, hiking was like this park near the house here that has this paved path, not even as wide as a golf cart path, but you can walk around the park on this paved path, see some beautiful scenery, nice trees, and people bring their dogs out there. Some people go out there and work out in the park. Some people run around in the grassy area, some on the trail, and some people even ride the bikes on this paved trail. So when I heard the word hiking, I was thinking, oh, that's what they're gonna do, just go walk around a golf cart path and see some nice scenery Well, okay, I was wrong. There's more to hiking than that. Last summer, my sister took me up to her cabin in Tennessee. We flew into Chattanooga and then drove to where their place is, somewhere on the Ocoee River. And somewhere near there is a site where they held the whitewater rafting for the Summer Olympics. I want to say back in '96, but I could be off. But I think it was '96. So a fairly well-known area anyway for rafting, but also the hiking there. Well, as a novice hiker, I quickly learned what they were talking about when they would say they would go hiking. It ain't a walk on a cart path through a beautiful golf course. It is through some amazing, beautiful scenery, but it's up and down and a lot of small paths, a lot of brush you got to cut through. So there's more to this hiking thing than I originally thought. So if I hadn't been with my brother or my brother-in-law and my sister, would I have done that on my own? Ventured into this unknown trail that was much more than just a golf cart? I don't think so. I wouldn't have known where I was going. As a novice hiker, I wouldn't have had the right gear, I'm sure. And so for me to do that all alone would have been that would have been ridiculous. I didn't know what I was doing. As much as I know how to walk, there's probably a lot more to it than just that. And so it was good to have them as guides on those hikes up there. Now one day, when I did pop in here and was talking to another hiker who had done this trail a lot, he was with his dogs, and I was kind of checking out the entranceway there to see how suitable it would be for me and Rocco. He did say he sees a lot of snakes out here, and there's definitely wildlife out here. I know wild boars are always on the main road out here, so I'm assuming they live back here somewhere, so that could be a possibility too. And gosh, even in my own backyard, I've seen bobcats, so I'm not sure what we'll find, but I don't really care about seeing any of those things today. I'm just kind of doing my due diligence on this trail to see the route, see where it is, and so when I bring the Rocco boy out here, I'll know where I'm going, because at that point, I will be his guide, his handler and guide. All right, so it looks like we're up to some kind of a marker here. Let's see if we can get this around, boom. Although you could go somewhere out here, we might save this part for another day. All right, we're gonna leave that one and go back to the marked trail. You hear that? I don't hear a thing, except maybe some birds with a quiet chirp. They must be off somewhere. But no cars, no people, no dogs. Wow. When in our lives do we go somewhere and it's absolutely quiet? Whew. Very nice. I've got to do this more often. And so do you. Yeah, you. There are some sounds of a fly buzzing right around my head, right around my ear. Other than that, I'm not really hearing anything. So, gosh, it's really nice. Just taking a break from all the noise out there in the made-up world, the media world, the social media world, all that noise is just such a distraction. This out here in the quiet, I could get used to this. You should try it out. Well, after my recent experiences the last couple of summers, going up to my sister's and hiking near the Ocoee River and doing some whitewater rafting, and kind of got the bug for hiking. It's not just walking around a paved golf cart path through a nice park, but where I've been taking Rocco lately is pretty much a park. So I hadn't needed anything really more than my tennis shoes or my training shoes. But I decided, hey, you know what? If I'm going to start doing some real hiking, I think I should get some hiking shoes. And then I remembered I had some hiking shoes in the garage. An old pair of Merrells from years ago when I would go skiing out in Colorado and would want some kind of boots to wear around, just walking around the town or the city after skiing. Well, they're at least 10 years old, and those boots are so damn heavy. Yeah, I found out, well, I weighed them, they were like 1.5 pounds each. But thanks to Mr. Grok, he told me, yeah, those are outdated. You can get much lighter boots to go hiking in, so I will have to look for those. In the meantime, though, I did have a pair of Hoka high tops. Hiking, I never used them for hiking before. I think I got them to wear onto the range for a little range training, but now I think they'll come in handy for hiking the trail because they are much lighter and they feel pretty good. That heel on the Hoka takes a little bit getting used to, but what drives me absolutely nuts on either pair of hiking shoes are the damn speed hooks. Yeah, not only is it hard to get the lace in there, which I guess I don't know what I'm doing, but they come untied so damn much. Speed hooks, yeah, maybe you get them in there faster, but all the time you lose having to retie your shoes. So apparently I just don't know how to tie my shoes. If I had a hiking guide, he could probably tell me how to fasten my laces, some kind of double knots or extra strength sailor's knots or something, who knows, but they would be able to tell me, I'm sure. So yeah, need a guide. Yeah, so even the camera I'm using, it doesn't seem like it does what it's supposed to do, or the controls that seemed to work a moment ago suddenly stop working. It's probably user error. So wouldn't it be nice to have a guide to show me how to use my camera, and not just when I'm at home in my office, kind of reading the instruction manual or looking at some videos, but actually out in the field where it really counts, how to operate the damn thing while I'm out here. That was the issue I had with trying to record and handle my working line German Shepherd at the same time. I really need to get more reps in just on handling Rocco, let alone trying to do this. Operate some camera and get various shots, but hey, that's what I'm out here for today. Going solo and figuring it out, man. Because short of a guide, you got to get the reps in. Even with a guide, like if you were playing tennis, you got your guide, you got your tennis coach, your tennis pro, who's going to get you through the basics. But then you got to go out and practice on your own, play the matches, get that experience. Or what if it was jiu-jitsu, which I've only dabbled in, haven't been consistent because, well, other things came up in life. I'll tell you about those another time, but trying to get it all done and still train jiu-jitsu, well, it's been a bit of an obstacle for me. But I still plan getting back to the dojo because it is so interesting and something I really want to learn. But could I or could anyone learn it from reading a book? I'm not going to say it's impossible, but if you don't have a training partner and are actually practicing the moves and getting the reps in, not likely. It certainly would not be effective if you ever needed to use it. But that's the whole key. Your instructor at the dojo can show you the moves, but if you don't get some reps in and get practice doing those under pressure, are they going to work when you need them to? Again, I'm going to say not likely. So the point I'm trying to make here, whether it's operating my camera, picking out the proper hiking shoes and the gear to bring on a hike, or training jiu-jitsu, or hey, tennis. Yeah, US Open's coming up. You can get there faster and go further if you have a coach. Think about it. Do you really need a financial coach? Well, maybe not if your scenario is just really basic, that you're just trying to figure out how to get some money into your 401k. You can probably go to HR and do something with your paycheck there, and they can establish that link. Or in a lot of cases today, I'm pretty sure you can do that all yourself online. But if you're trying to figure out when the best time to take Social Security for yourself, for your spouse, or the best strategy so that you can leave the most to the survivor, well, you can go it alone there, but just like, well, I am going alone on this hike today, but anything more advanced than this probably would want to be along with a guide, a coach. Yeah, it'll pay off in the long run to have a coach along. Should you convert or not convert? Because you know those 401ks, traditional 401ks and traditional IRAs, at some point, Uncle Sam wants to get his hands on some of those. And when you start taking money out, you're going to pay tax. And if you don't take money out, even if you don't need the money, Uncle Sam's going to make you take it out so he can collect some tax on that. But maybe in your scenario, it makes sense to do a conversion to a Roth conversion. Maybe some of it, maybe all of it. It's not one size fits all. So in that case, I would say it would probably make sense to work with somebody who does that kind of stuff day in and day out and see if a Roth conversion makes sense in your case. Oh, what is that? A turtle? Yeah, it looks like a turtle. Wow, pretty cool. I think I've gone about as far as I'm going to go solo today. I'm at a point where it seems like the trail diverges off into a bunch of different trails, ones I've never been on before, so I don't really know where I'm going. I didn't study the terrain ahead of time. I've got all trails on my phone, but it doesn't seem to be working. Again, because it's probably user error that it probably does work. At least it's got to, otherwise it wouldn't be so popular for a trail app, right? But it would have been smart of me to study the trail map. So even if my phone, my trail thing, which I'm not actually able to read today anyway, but if it did work and I was out here and lost service, it would be good to have already studied and in my mind know which way I'm going. So for now, I'm taking the conservative route and probably just calling it a day here and head back whence I came, or whilst I came. How do the British say that again? Whilst. I hear that a lot on YouTube videos, whilst. But I will head back from where I came, from whence I came. Maybe that's it. I don't know. I think I might need a guide for language too. I definitely need a guide for Spanish. I had a live-in Spanish tutor, my wife. Yeah, passed away. I'll tell you about that another time, because there are a lot of good stories to that. But yeah, I think my point right here is, I think when you get as far as you're comfortable going and you feel like, okay, now I'm getting in a little over my head, just because this is not something I do every day, day in and day out. This is not something I've done before. I really don't know the terrain. And really, it's important enough to probably not take unnecessary risks. In this case, it would be with my life, right? It's highly unlikely something would happen, but just in case, probably worth not risking until I became a little more confident being out here. So I think the same can be said when it comes to your money. The stuff you do day in and day out, you're comfortable doing, yeah, you probably don't need help with that. But it's those unusual scenarios, those things when it pertains to Social Security, your retirement, or as I like to say, your unretirement. Or, yeah, what to do after a spouse dies. I'll tell you more about that another time, but a lot of things that are one-offs that it really pays to work with somebody who has the experience with that. So think about that. I think we made the right decision. And when I say we, it's just me today. I made the right decision because I'm starting to hear some thunder rumbling off in the distance, which is not unusual at all for a summer afternoon in Florida. So we're about a mile out from where I parked. So it won't take that long to get back. And yeah, coming to the head there where there was all kinds of trails diverging off into terrain unknown, at least to me. So yeah, if I had been with somebody, maybe not even a guy, just somebody who's got some trail experience too, we could help each other out. But ideally it would have been somebody who's walked this terrain before, or even better yet, a professional trail guide. That would have been cool. Now, I'm not saying that you can't figure it out on your own. Yeah, I could probably figure all this out, get enough reps in where I could be considered a professional trail guide at some point. But in the meantime, do I really want to spend all that time working and studying, getting to that level? Or would I rather just pay a real guide to do that for me, a professional guide, to show me the shortcuts, the way to do it, the best route, and teach me how to survive out here if something were to happen? Yeah, I think I'd rather do that and then use my other time to work at what I do for a living, to work at what I do best. And when I'm not doing that, to do all the things that I find fun in life, like playing tennis, working with my dog, training him. And again, I'm not a professional trainer, a dog trainer. I've hired a professional dog trainer to help me with him because it's the first working line German Shepherd I've ever had. We had pet dogs for years, but they pretty much just complied with whatever we said. They could kind of read us. Now, my German Shepherd, he can read me, but he chooses not to comply sometimes, even though he knows better. So having a professional dog trainer, dog handler to help me out with that and to at least show me what I should be doing, oh my gosh, it is paying off way, wow, look at that butterfly. Huh. It is really paying off. What do they say when a butterfly flies by you? My wife loved butterflies. So, could it be a sign? Well, I'm gonna think it is. I like to think it is. All right, baby, I see you out there. Thanks for coming along. And yeah, thank you for joining me on this little walkabout, this little walk and talk through the equestrian park. Close to home, never even popped in here. Or I guess I did pop in here, but I've never actually walked the trails. I always thought it was just for horses, but you know what? People too. People on foot and dogs on leash. But I bet I'm gonna get my dog to the stage where he can just walk beside me off leash, and that my handling skills will improve so much thanks to my professional trainer. And of course, us, me and Rocco put in the reps, that we'll get good where we can do that. So yeah, I guess you can tell my little message today is it pays to hire a professional. But I bet you already knew that. I'm hearing some noise now. The silence has been broken. Not only the bugs flying around me and landing on my legs too, but the wind is picking up. The sound of wind blowing through the trees, the leaves rustling a little bit. Yeah, I think that's a sign the rain is coming. I already heard the thunder. I think I'll get back before it actually starts, but if not, what's the worst that can happen? Get a little wet? I've been wet a lot of times in my life, so no big deal. But it would be nice to make it back and just remain wet from the sweat. Or actually, it would be a nice cool down, probably. So, hey, bring it on if you're coming. Just no lightning until I get in the car. Yeah, that one. Well, I made it back. Wind's picking up. Rain, I'm gonna guess, is not too far away. Probably in the next 30 minutes. Yeah, it's blowing the sand, the dirt right across the parking lot there. So, yeah, glad I made it back. Verdict, seems like a cool trail to explore. Maybe not bringing Rockaboy out here quite yet, especially at this time of day, but probably could bring him out early in the morning when it's cooler, or later in the evening. But here, summertime in Florida, it's gonna be a lot of showers. Ah, yeah, just heard it, more thunder. And usually when there's thunder here, in the lightning capital of the world, yeah, lightning is not too far behind. So with that, we'll leave it at that. The one thing I wish I did have was a guide, or if my All Trails was working for me. I'm not saying it's not working, it just wasn't working for me. User error, yeah, not enough time spent learning it. Not enough time spent looking at the maps of the trail so that I would know where I am if everything else fails. So, yeah, a guide would have been very beneficial. So, think about it. A guide in your financial life. Yeah, if you just need a second opinion or want to do a quick conversation, look for the info in the description below. In the meantime, hey, if you know somebody who could use this kind of information, this kind of push to get with a professional, why not share it with them? And you know what? A little subscribe always helps. So until I see you again, have a great one.